other gods before me.
Welcome back to another edition of Mythical Beings and Deities. On this show, I will venture throughout time and history to discuss a wide range of deities which have been worshipped, praised, and had stories told on their behalf from all over the world. Hope you enjoy this segment and leave a comment below if you have any suggestions or deities you'd like us to discuss. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Ikenga, the powerful knife-wielding horned Alusi warrior of the Igbo tribe. Ikenga literally means strength of movement. The Ikenga is a horned Alusi found among the Igbo people in southern Nigeria. Alusi or Arusi are spirits that are worshipped and served in Igbo mythology. Ikenga is one of the most powerful symbols of the Igbo people and the most common cultural artifact. Ikenga is mostly maintained, kept or owned by men and occasionally by women of high reputation and integrity in society. It compromises someone's chi or aura, their personal god and ancestors, as well as spiritual activation through prayer and sacrifice. Ikenga is exclusively an Igbo symbol. Nevertheless, various peoples of southern Nigeria have slightly different notions of the components of an individual personality, but all agree that these various aspects can only be affected through ritual and personal effort. Some variants of it are found in Ijo, Ishan, and Ido areas. Among the Isoko people, there are three types of personal shrine images: Oma, which represents the spirit double that resides in the other world; Obo, which symbolizes the right hand and personal endeavor; and the Iviri, which stands for personal determination. In the Yohobo areas, it is also regarded as Iveri, and in the Ido areas, it is called Ikegobo. Ikenga is a symbol of achievement. The Ikenga is a personal embodiment of human endeavor, achievement, success, and victory. Ikenga is grounded in the belief that the power for a man to accomplish things is in his right hand. Ikenga also governs over industry, farming, blacksmithing, and is celebrated every year with an annual Ikenga festival. The carvings or miniature statues is believed by its owners to bring wealth and fortune as well as protection. Ikenga is also the god of time. The two-faced Ikenga is the oldest concept of Ikenga in Igbo land. It is a two-faced god with one face looking at the old year while one face looks at the new year. This is the basis of the oldest and most ancient Igbo calendar. As a god of beginnings, it has the praised name of Ikenga Owa Ota. Ikenga requires consecration before usage. Normally, an Ikenga is consecrated in the presence of one's kinsmen or age mates by lineage. Offerings of things like yam, wine, cola nuts, and alligator pepper are sacrificed to it. Consecrations are often more elaborate and occasionally less, depending on the financial strength of the owner. If the owner is devoted, he feeds his Ikenga on a daily basis with cola and wine. And periodically, especially before an important undertaking, he offers sacrificial blood of a cock or ram to include the spirit to help him succeed. Afterwards, the owner also offers thanksgiving to his Ikenga by helping him achieve success. Success, as believed, solely depends on their personal chi, represented by Ikenga, and the support of the kingsman. According to MDW Jeffries, there are 3 types of Ikenga: Ikenga Madu, which is the human; Ikenga Alusi, which is the spirit; and Ikenga Nitu Aga, which is the divination objects. The first is a fully developed human figure with horns, seated on a stool. The second is a cylinder with horns. The divination objects are small and simple and come in different shapes. The most famous type of Ikenga is probably the warrior, depicting a well-developed human figure with horns and a fierce expression. It is seated on a stool, holding objects in both hands. The right hand holds a knife with a pronounced handle and a slightly curved blade. The left hand a tusk, or more often a severed human head with eyes and the nose and the mouth bulging out of the concaved face. The warrior Ikenga corresponds to the stage in life where men are expected to demonstrate their military prowess. Owned by many of the younger members of the age grade, it depicts the ideal male, robust, wearing the warrior grass skirt and holding a knife and a severed human head. This pose used to be seen in warrior groups when they performed dances. The knife is always held in the right hand, called Aka Ikenga, the Ikenga hand, and the Ikenga is also called a shrine to the right hand. In recent times, the overt violent element of the severed head and knife has been replaced by metaphorical ways as symbols of aggression. The most characteristics of the iconographic elements of the Ikenga, the horns, also carries the connotation. The Igbo proverb says the ram goes into a fight head first. That is, one must plunge into a venture in order to succeed. A second major Ikenga type, an elaboration of the warrior form, has a superstructure with the human or animal image or both. The seated figure often displayed a tusk in the left hand and a staff in the right. In many examples, marks are represented on the face. Some of these figures, especially the large ones, often are more than a meter high. Some of these figures, especially the very large ones, often the ones that are a meter high, do not belong to an individual but to an age set or a lineage segment. These community Ikenga figures stand for group rather than individual achievements and prestige, and demonstrate continuity between the individual and society. They are related to display figures known as Ugo. The eagle seeks out beauty and display a great deal of artistic inventiveness. In the simpler examples of this group, the superstructure on a disc base supports animal figures. Other large Ikenga with a very intricate superstructures consisting of 2 horns that circle the sides of the head and continue upward to form another circle terminating in the snake's head. Pointed on the lower part of the horns above the head are 4 ram heads and 1 or more leopards at the top. The motifs on the community Ikenga tend to have complex headdress, signifying collective ownership. The motifs also depict what the community is known for instance, whether they are known as warriors, hunters, traders, or farmers. During the annual festival, all male born during the previous year are brought before the community Ikenga and thus are validated as community numbers. The elaborate Ikenga figures, especially those with superstructures, seem to correspond to the more advanced title-taking stages in a man's life. The three-legged stool, known as the Aka or Orca stool, was reserved for one of the highest rank of the title system, the Ozo title. The staff indicates authority and comes in a complex hierarchy, to a simple wooden one to a rod of forged iron with brass rings. The most common type represented in Ikenga is the that name is very hard to pronounce, is the Noswagwagaling. I'll put it in the description. The most common type represented in Ikenga is now this name is very hard to pronounce, but I will give the spelling. It is Nsuagillign. Alright. Now this is distinguished by open work on the shaft. The tusk or kiki held in the left hand is used as a trumpet, Odu. It alludes to the elephant, a widespread symbol for power and leadership. A stool and tusk, though not a staff, were often carried for persons of high title by a young boy or young girl. Most of the elaborate Ikenga bear the Ichi sacrification pattern, consisting of a parallel vertical lines on the forehead and temples. Sacrification was a professional specialization of experts from the Orca community. The Ichi marks were used to distinguish the highest ranked members of the title societies, as well as sons and daughters of the nobility. A superstructure usually also consists of references to animals. One prominent animal used on the title holder in Ikenga figures is the leopard, the king of the animals, and an emblem of the political authority of a titled man. The horns of the ram or other animals found on all Ikenga figures signify power and aggression. Many elaborate examples display a whole figure of a ram, or at least a full head. Snakes, birds, and turtles may also be included on the Ikenga. Numerous Ikenga, both the warrior and the titled person types, have a raw or pointed projections flanking the head, usually 3 or another odd number on each side. Ikenga in the southern Igbo area have 3 knobs on the horizontal bar, besides being associated with Ikenga. The number 3 is also associated with males throughout West Africa. These projections may stand for the Nuzu cone-shaped pieces of chalk used in rituals. This native chalk, suggesting purity and protection, is sometimes applied to the eyes and temples. High-ranking people need magical protection because they are often objects of envy, which is commonly expressed by witchcraft. According to Nidi Ichi Aqua mythology and folklore origins of the Igbo, Ikenga was the son of Nagu and was a bold warrior and fantastic wrestler. He was reputed with the ability of flying from one oroko tree to another. He was the first living man in memory to earn the title of Ogba Aka Ari Oji, which meant a climber of the oroko tree without the aid of strings. Ikenga led the Nokwa nation in the first of and famous river of sea battles ever undertaken by any nation in the Oji country. Mermaids came to fight for the Edo people, and many Odo warriors rode on the backs of mammoth sharks and crocodiles. Edo herbalists had the power to conjure large stones to fly and ram on the buildings of the Noko nations to destruction. The war was intense and lasted 1 month. For the first time, the use of green foliage camouflage was introduced by Ikenga and his warriors so that they appeared as floating bushes on the seas until they came close enough on their targets to rout the Edo and Odo enemies. Many of the will-o-wisps sent by Edo country were destroyed. When the Edo and Odo warriors saw that they were being defeated and were forced to retreat back to their territories, they made a final desperate lunge to grab the only Nidi Ichi Aqua in Naku's possession. Ikenga rallied around his father's palace to repulse Ododo and Edo stalwarts. Many casualties were sustained by both sides until Ikenga came face to face with the four-eyed monster called Ajiku Akpu Isi, who had 6 horns. Ajiku Akpu Isi bellowed out his fearsome shriek, which thundered through the jungle in repeated echoes that the verdure quivered in ominous pulses. The monster roused his fierce rage by scampering round his position, as it means by revving up his momentum and sharpening a deadly attack pulse. The vibrations turned into a nauseating earthquake in the area. He mixed these excrements with urine and splashed the corrosive mixture in Ikenga's direction. Ikenga used his Ekpeki shield, and in a series of athletic diving, he destroyed the beast that was on a ferocious onslaught. In the same split second, however, the monster had charged towards Ikenga. As he snorted and roared, Ikenga sprang onto an overhead tree branch like a huge cat and somersaulted round it to suspend the top on his hands like an acrobat gymnast. As the monster thundered underneath his charge but missed Ikenga's backside by centimeters, Ikenga flung himself on the top horns of the monster. The two combatants hurtled through jungle flora and fauna in mortal battle. Ikenga mustered the last gram of strength in a titanic muscle flex as he twisted the neck of the beast, which broke with such nerve-shattering crack. There were few groans and whimpering, followed by death, thrubs and ghostly silence pervaded the vast jungle. The Edo and Ododo warriors were stupefied by the incredible spectacle, and in a momentary recovery they retreated in disarray.